I cannot stand PvP. It's the bane of my existence.
I'm with you there, so.
Yeah, but you've got a completely different reason. You just suck at it.
Yeah, well, that's my reason, too. I did create a rogue specifically, and that's my rogue Grey Mouser. I did create a rogue specifically for PvP, and I still sucked at it.
See, I'm the only one here that really loves PvP then.
Oh, no, my 4-year-old daughter loved it, too, because I would just let her play.
I mean, there is nothing like a big mug full of Alliance tears. They taste so good. I'm telling you, I could just sustain myself for months on it.
You know, it's funny because I literally, my daughter has been playing World of Warcraft since she was 4. She could play Warcraft before she could read. And I would literally turn her over to my account and say, hey, look, go ahead and take whatever tune you want and go PvP with it. And she would giggle her butt out every time she died. It didn't bother her. And I'm like, I'm ready to throw my computer across the room just doing one match.
I'm picturing her chasing some poor middle-aged guy all over the map, laughing her ass off, going, run away, little girl, run away.
Yep.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 51. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is a man whose motto is, if God's watching us, the least we can do is keep him entertained. My co-host, Mac, from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
Trying to keep him entertained. He saw me driving the parking lot at work last week.
Oh, man.
We have 3 less signs in the parking lot now.
Well, I'd love to get into, just how many moving violations you had at your job this week. But joining us on the podcast this week is Fafford from Lion's Pride Tavern. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here.
All right. Well, this has been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah.
We finally got you on the show to let us know just exactly how bad Mac is in these raids.
I've got my stories all prepared.
and how slow Dax is in leveling.
Well, so far I haven't got the raid wiped yet, so I can't be held responsible for that.
Yeah, right? So we did come up with a new name for Mac, you know.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's Swiffer.
Swiffer. Because all the crap clings to him. Is that what it is?
Look, a dust mouth.
Yeah.
Dust bunny. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I clean up the floor, yeah. I am staying on my feet a little longer.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Of course, last week I was jumping in the hole very often.
Well, you were supposed to only do it when you had the bomb on you, not every time you turned around.
Well, I was seeing the bomb and it wasn't me, and I would jump and it's like, oh, well, it's not going to blow me back up there when I have the bomb, so I'll just lay on the ground here in the air, or lay in the air. Yeah.
All right.
You die, and you slowly float on a bit of air till.
I mean, if you forget to jump in the hole, it's not like anybody else suffers for your mistake, right? It only affects you. Is that what I'm supposed to understand with this?
Yeah, they can just laugh at me and
Well,
point fingers.
The nice thing is he's staying with his DPS. He's staying above the healers.
Right. Yeah. I noticed that. It was like, oh, look, he's number 9 on the... Oh, he's gone already. He's already off the chart. It was like he was at 9 before, because a couple of the guys hadn't realized that the fight had started yet. And so he was actually number 9 for like about half a second, and I got excited for him.
I kick him in the soft spots first, I gotta get my butt. Well, that Demon Hunter DPS, I mean, unfortunately, it's burst and then
Nothing.
wait for the cooldowns to come back up, burst, and wait for cooldowns to come up.
Now, the way I understand it, as a DPS, your damage should be higher than the healers and the tank, right?
Okay.
Theoretically,
you're expecting a lot out of me.
I mean, I hear about how geared you are now with all these. How many legendaries you got on that guy? I mean,
him I only got 2. I just. It was.
Oh man!
I had another. It was funny. Last week I had a guild fold on me that I've been in for a long time since the podcast started. I've been in this other guild. I don't put all of my tunes in one guild because some of the tunes I just log on to for a couple hours a day.
Spread the wealth.
Yeah. And one of the things I told them when I joined, it's like, look, I don't have a lot of playtime. And they said, no problem. We don't expect you to be in the raiding group, blah blah blah. And so I've been in there just, yakking and having fun. Well, I came back. They were trying to get people to raid, and I came in and was told I didn't have to raid, so I wasn't raiding over there. And they had a meltdown in guild leadership, and they destroyed the guild with extreme prejudice. And I was kicked out of the guild. But anyways, the guild disbanded. I'm sorry. Everyone was kicked out of the guild. But
right.
Yeah, I can't say that because my guild is, let's see, my wife and my son and my daughter.
Right.
We started it all, so if it falls, I'm talking to an attorney.
That's hardcore, man.
Yeah, right?
That's hardcore. I mean, how badly would your wife have to mess up for you to kick her out? Now, to be clear, I'm talking about the guild. To kick her out of the guild.
All right. So we listened to this podcast on our way into work and back, so I'm not going to answer that question.
He's taking the fifth. It's
That's
smart
right.
man. Smart man. He's like, my wife listens too.
I've been married 21 years.
This podcast is probably going to go on long enough that I'll have material that I can edit something in and make it sound like you did respond.
Probably.
I'm just saying. Normally I would save that sort of thing for Mac, but
So anyways, Fafford, we really appreciate you coming on. I know it's a long time coming. Why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and where you're from, etc.
Sure, yeah. So I am from Montana. I'm an ex-Navy, as yourself.
There we go.
Yeah. I was a nuclear engineer on board USS Nimitz on an aircraft carrier for 6 years. And, Montana boy, raised and born in the mountains and went right out to the ocean and came right back. I went, saw enough of the world.
I joined the Navy to see the world, and they sent me shore-based to California.
Oh, nice.
I tell people I was in the Navy. They say, "What ship are you on?" I wasn't.
My uncle is actually the one that got me to go into the Navy because I was, I'd gone to college and it just wasn't for me, and I decided, what am I going to do with my life? And I went out to see my uncle in Seattle, and he was a 20-year vet. And he said, well, I'll tell you, if you're thinking of going into the service, you can go into the Air Force if you like being stationed at one place for, 10 years, if you like Germany, if you like one town in Germany. You can go in the Army or the Marines and be a professional bullet catcher, or you can join the Navy and see something of this world you live on. And I was fortunate enough that I got stationed in Norfolk, Virginia when I got out of nuclear power school, and our ship transferred to Bremerton, Washington, so we did a round-the-world cruise. So I've been in 30 different countries and sailed in every ocean on the face of the earth. So I'm pretty lucky. Even my uncle was like, I was in 20 years and never sailed around the world, so that was pretty cool. So I'm one of the fortunate ones.
When I joined, the buddy that Dex is familiar with, who joined with me, he ended up on the Midway, so he was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, that was... We had different reasons for joining, but we can talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah.
Had another friend that went on Westpac, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
But, we actually... I had a friend in high school that... I won't mention any names, but... I had a friend in high school that was going to join the Army, and I remember asking him, I said, man, you're going to join the Army, you can't even swim. And he goes, no, it's not the Navy, you don't have to be able to swim to be in the Army. Now, I don't know if that's true, but it's troubling.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Matt can attest. I met people in boot camp that couldn't swim.
Oh yeah, I met people in boot camp that couldn't float. It's like, you joined the Navy. Yeah. I was gonna be on the boat. It's like, well, if the ship goes down, what do you?
Yep. Nobody told me there'd be water.
Yeah, how long can you tread water? You know?
My recruiter never said anything about water.
Yeah.
Blame the recruiter.
They probably thought it was just referring to the color of the uniform they were wearing. So,
seriously, I joined in 1984. Got out in 1990, and I joined because they still had bell-bottom pants.
Yeah, I got in 83, and we were still wearing the dungarees.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they got away from that.
I've got really big feet, and I was one of those guys that was pissed off when bell bottoms went out. It's like, no, you don't understand, man. I look better in bell bottoms, you know? It's like,
Dex didn't join the service because they would have made him cut his hair at the time.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I've got really short hair now, but at one point I had pretty long hair. I wasn't gonna. That's the excuse that I used. It was my hair. That's why. It doesn't have anything to do with not wanting to sign up for somebody to scream in my face, every morning. But
well, you said I do at one point, so.
Okay. And,
aren't you married?
Me?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm married. But the other thing that the Navy and I disagreed on was the definition of morning. To me, morning is 9:30, maybe. Okay, and when you say 0500, you're not fooling anybody. It's 5 frickin' a.m., okay? Don't make it sound like it's not as bad as it is, okay? You're like, wow, 500, I'm sleeping in big time. It's like, no, that's not what's happening here.
Yeah, but anyway. they put you to bed at 2200.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Get a couple hours of sleep.
Yeah, I better get to question 2 because this is already going to be an 8-hour podcast. So, Faffer, why don't you tell us a story about when you first started playing WoW? How far back do you go, and who got you your first fix and got you onto this addiction that we all are hooked on now? And what was your first character, race, class, and tell us why.
So I was the one that originally started WoW with all my friends and family. I walked into a store and I saw World of Warcraft, and I was like, what is this? And I played the original Orcs versus Humans when it first came out, and all the ones after that, and fell in love with them. So when I saw World of Warcraft and you play one of the characters, I was like, that's pretty cool. So when I rolled my first character, which was a human mage, I've always loved mages, I got my buddy, my really good friend involved, and he played a human warrior, but he played a guy and I played a girl. And about a month afterwards, he asked me, he goes, why are you playing a female? And I was like, well, we run behind them, and I don't like looking at your butt.
I've heard that from somebody else before.
I have actually heard that excuse, and it didn't ring true that time either. The last guy that said that at least had a little bit of conviction in his voice. I was almost convinced. It was. Sorry, man.
So, anyway, prior to WoW, did you play any other MMOs, or if so, which ones?
Yeah, I actually did. I played quite a few, actually. I did play Evercrack for a little while.
All right.
Yep, and long enough. I think it was probably 45 minutes.
Oh, no.
Oh, you played EverQuest not when it first came out then.
No. Every time I came in, somebody ganked me. So I was like, this game's terrible.
Wait a minute. You played on Zek or something? You played on the PvP server?
I have no idea. No idea. I'm not kidding. When I say I played for 45 minutes, I was like, I literally would zone in, and I would hide under a bridge, and somebody would come and gank me and take all my stuff, and I'd come back and I was like, ah.
So let me just say this, because this is going to drive you crazy. Okay, you know how in World of Warcraft you've got all these PvP realms, and you've got all these blue servers, and you've got and you've got role play and blah blah blah. In EverQuest, at its height, when it had a lot of servers, it had closed down 2 of its PvP servers, and it was down to 1 single PvP server. So unless you were early on, you by luck picked the only server you could have picked where anybody could have killed you. There's no world PvP on any of the other realms at all.
That sounds like what I did. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past me.
There is actually, Fancy the Bard.
Yeah.
If you look up Google Fancy the Famous Bard, you'll see the story about how EverQuest was going to create their own no rules server, and this guy got a rule on the no. Yeah,
he ruined it.
He made them create a rule on the no rules server.
Yeah, no, this is a guy that he used. Let's just say that he used the mechanics of the game to harass people like crazy. He just and pretended like he didn't understand that he was doing anything wrong. And,
go good team.
Yeah, go good team. Yeah. It was like people were, why did you do that? Why are you such a jerk? You're evil. I had to do something about you. I'm a good guy. You're evil. It's like he was acting like he was like 10, 11 years old. But anyway, it was he was like the original MMO troll. I mean, he was great. But
he's got gotta have a lot of respect for somebody who can actually get a game that says, hey, we're gonna have a no rules server. Right. And he gets him to create a rule for him.
So besides EverQuest, was there anything else besides that one that you played before a while?
I did. I played D&D for a while. I didn't like it as much because it was so slow leveling. And, I'm an old paper and pen D&D player from, well, let's put it this way. I have one of the original D&D books called Chainmail. It's a 3rd edition.
Right, that's the old, yeah.
But so I started playing with it. But it's really difficult to find people in Montana to play anything with you. So when WoW came out, and it's like, this is D&D online. I just went, And I started off on a decent realm. I mean, it was easy. I mean, it was PvE, and loved it. And me and my buddy played for, months and months at a time. So that's how I got started.
Okay, so where do you play? Where do you play now? What's or do you play on multiple realms? And you're PvE or PvP now?
I'm PvE, and I do have several tunes on several realms because prior to multi-realm raiding, if you wanted to raid with another good group, you had to go do a tune on their server. And so I have several tunes that are like 50. Because I would get them up to level 50 over the weekend and I'd be like, I'm not doing that anymore. It's just because once you hit 50, you hit Blackrock, and I can't stand that dungeon. I can't stand it.
There are ways around that, yeah.
I know the feeling. I've got an Alliance Hunter that's like 103 that I don't think I'll ever level. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So, Fafford, how would you classify yourself as a player? Are you hardcore raider, filthy casual, or somewhere in between? You prefer to solo, do dungeons, and you said you like PvE better. So,
well, as a dwarven hunter, I think I'm what's called a social player. You say let's play, and I say so shall I.
Yeah, there we go. I drink like that.
Just gonna let that go, man.
No, I would say when I first started out, I was pretty hardcore doing solo dungeons. I love doing dungeons, but as I progressed in my tunes, I had at one time when the cap was at 90, I had all 11 tunes at 90. And I could literally go into a dungeon and say, well, what do you need? Do you need a healer?
Right.
I'll bring one of my 3 healers in. Do you need, a tank? I'll tank it, So I did a lot of that. And then we found this raid group that we're with now. And when they started doing cross-realm raiding, that's when raiding really took off for me.
Right.
So I would consider myself now a raider, but I've passed. I would be a lot of. I love doing quests. That was fun.
Right.
And then so quests, dungeons, and then I cannot stand PvP. It's the bane of my existence.
I'm with you there. So.
Yeah, but you've got a completely different reason. You just suck at it.
Yeah. Well, that's my reason too. I did create a rogue specifically, and that's my rogue Grey Mouser. I did create a rogue specifically for PvP, and I still sucked at it.
See, I'm the only one here that really loves PvP then.
Oh, no, my 4-year-old daughter loved it, too, because I would just let her play.
I mean, there is nothing like a big mug full of Alliance tears. They taste so good. I'm telling you, I could just sustain myself for months on it.
You know, it's funny because I literally, my daughter has been playing World of Warcraft since she was 4. She could play Warcraft before she could read. And I would literally turn her over to my account and say, hey, look, go ahead and take whatever tune you want and go PvP with it. And she would giggle her butt out every time she died. It didn't bother her. And I'm like, I'm ready to throw my computer across the room just doing one match.
I'm picturing her chasing some poor middle-aged guy all over the map, laughing her ass off, going, run away, little girl, run away.
Yep.
I have a grandson who played like that back early on.
That's great. That's great. And that's hardcore. If she was like that age and already doing PvP.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, by the time she's our age, she'll have like spreadsheets of how many seconds it takes her to kill the opposing side based on, their race and class, It's like,
I don't know. I'm fearing when she hits 13 that she's going to find boys. So,
but she's already got that PvP mindset. So if they cross her,
exactly,
she knows what to do. So.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us an overview of what it's like to helm a raiding guild that's burning through current content? What are some of the challenges and so forth with doing that?
Burning? We're more like a slow roast.
Okay, all right. Before Mac started coming along, when you guys were burning through the content.
No, we have a very unique group because I am not the sole raid leader. Okay. My son is one of the main tanks. My wife is one of the better DPSs on our team, and I'm kind of in the middle, But
are you able to put him on restriction if he isn't able to hold aggro?
Oh no, he knows. He's 20.
He's a grown man, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so he's 20. Yeah. But he knows more about WoW than I could ever think of. He loves the lore. He's read all the books, and I'd be like, "What's the name of that guy up there on that hill?" And he'd name off some guy. I'm like, "Yeah, that one."
Yeah. You know what? It's a good thing he is a grown man, because imagine this scenario: he's a teenager, and you're like, "You're grounded for the whole weekend, Dad. Raid night tomorrow. We're taking on the new boss, and you're grounded starting tomorrow."
After the raid,
right after the raid. Yeah.
Well, you also got to understand, we've been doing this for quite a few years.
No loot for you. Yeah,
no loot for you. We've been raiding together for quite a few years. Like I said, my daughter was 4 when she started playing WoW, and she's 12 now.
Right.
And my son's been playing for just as long. What he drove me nuts because he used to make tunes that would go to level 10 and then he'd delete them and start over again. It's like, how are you going to get anywhere? You got to keep, So anyway,
my grandson.
Yeah. But as far as raiding, our guild's pretty unique because we have several people that are in higher end guilds that are just coming to raid with us because they enjoy our company. So we don't have that elitist attitude, we have a group of us that co-raid lead together. What's funny is it's all of our podcast members from our podcast, but and then including my wife and my son. But that really helps because I think a lot of people, and I don't know how much raiding you guys have done from what I've listened to your podcast. You haven't done a lot, but
not at all.
So I know Mac is really enjoying raiding with us. So,
right.
And we even converted his wife. She even raids with us. So
I don't think she was ever really opposed to raiding at all. No, I don't think she was. I don't think she was like you were about it, right?
No, I was more in the I can do. I mean, I have. Well, she actually has said, I love rating these guys because they don't give me crud when I make a mistake, and she doesn't say crud, but and so she likes that. That's one of the things I like about this group is everyone's laid back, and we screw up, and you go back and rinse and repeat.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's. I think, in all seriousness, I think it's worth mentioning. I mean, I haven't been with you guys yet, but I have. I've watched the live stream a couple of times. When I had a chance to pop on for a little while and watch. And I got to tell you, a lot of people that say that they don't want to raid, it's because they have this vision in their head of some teenage kid screaming at them. That that they don't, using slang probably that they don't even understand, telling them how they're screwing up, and don't you know that you have to do this and this, and then no, I didn't really know that, but thanks. And there's a fear, there's a fear that people have of dealing with that.
Oh, absolutely. You get an 11-year-old kid telling you could get 10 more DPS if you just push this button twice. It's like, dude, I know that's why we are successful with what we do, is because we are very laid back. We get frustrated just like anybody else does. I mean,
sure.
This last night raid, we do 2 hours worth of raid time, and we spent it basically on one boss,
right?
And still never got past it.
Yeah.
And if that Matt guy would stop doing
no, and I saw how there was mild frustration, but that's normal. That's completely normal and completely acceptable. And even to say, wow, man, we got to get together, guys. This isn't flying. I mean, to me that's all completely acceptable. But what a lot of people worry about is that you're just going to have somebody just repeatedly denigrating you for not coming in with the same level of experience as everyone who's been there for a couple of years or whatever. And so the entry point is rough for a lot of people. I mean, they see it as kind of prohibitive, if with at least with what they're seeing in their heads. And I think raiding guilds are going, a lot of them are going more the way that you guys are with a little bit of a softer approach to things. I think that's becoming more commonplace, but I know a number of years ago, and not just in WoW, but in other games, hardcore raiders, man, it was rough, dealing with that mindset.
Yeah.
And, if like in EverQuest, on top of that, raids were not as easy as, okay, let's put it together and let's go in and start our instance and do it. It was racing someone else to non-instanced content that whoever got there first, the raid that, it was a DPS race.
Right.
And that sucks, And so a lot of the early raiding kind of influenced that, where if you weren't a tight group and you didn't have it together, then you were going to fail, and you were going to fail every time. You not only had to be good at it, but you had to be better than every other raid group that was trying, or you would fail. So I think that's how that mindset started. I blame EverQuest.
But normally do, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm really impressed with. I guess what I was driving towards is I'm really impressed that you guys are not that way, and you guys are understanding about you have to learn the fights and so forth. And so if anybody listens to the podcast and they're kind of thinking, oh God, raiding and dealing with people like that, not always going to be the case, and certainly not with Lion's Pride Tavern. So they should
great group of people.
They should definitely check you guys out if they're on Alliance side and they want to do some raiding and kind of try it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me being serious and not cracking jokes. That's it. There's going to be no more of that.
Okay.
The rest of the podcast.
So, we've talked a lot on this podcast about things we'd like to see from a gold making standpoint. As a raider, what are some of the changes you'd like to see in raids in WoW's future?
Well, realistically, they've done pretty much all they can, because the only thing I could see left for them to do would be cross-realm trading in a raid. Now that brings up a whole mess of stuff where it would totally screw up the economy, because then you'd be able to move stuff from one realm to another just by having tunes, and people would be making raid groups with multiple computers, and I get why they don't do it, but
I don't know anyone who would take advantage of something like that.
I'm sorry, I had a cash register going off.
Yeah, I know.
I was getting excited at the prospect of raiding as being my new go-to gold making method.
Well, it's really frustrating when you get into a raid, and I've got these little cheats that come up, these tells that will say whether you got your food, and you've got your buff on that, and you've got your potion, and then we're getting ready to start, and we always start logging in a half hour before raid time starts, and we'll start inviting people, get the group together, get it all going, and there's always one or two people that go, "Oh, I forgot my potions." Now we're going, okay, now we got to wait for you to go back and get some potions. It would be
and it'd be
so
nice
much
if you could just hand it to them.
Absolutely, but
that's the reson why I want the cross raid. Too.
Yeah.
Me too. That's why I want it too.
So now they could put restrictions on it realistically, and I know Blizzard listens to your podcast.
Yeah.
So
right.
This is my suggestion. So make cross-realm trading a thing, but only with like consumables, and once the raid's over, they're gone. Or they go back. If you didn't use it, they go back to the person that gave it to you. So that way you can't take advantage of that.
Au contraire. While you were talking just now, this is how my mind works. I figured out exactly how I would circumvent that. And I'm telling you, I'm not joking. It totally went through my head, and I thought, okay, what's the longest you can keep a raid active?
Yep.
And
that's true.
Here's the problem. The item, if it's a fully tradable item, what's to stop the person that's in the raid from, while the raid is still active, to put it in the auction house? Do you want to say that if they leave the zone, it goes away? Because that causes more problems. I'm just saying that there are ways around it to where some asshole's going to come in and take advantage.
His mind works like this.
Oh, no. When you guys were talking about the cageable mounts, that was the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh, wow, wouldn't that be a gold maker?
And you know what? The entire time that we were talking about that, I'm thinking, all right, there are certain mounts that are going to be exempt from that you're not going to, just like there are certain pets that you can't cage. There are going to be certain mounts that you can't cage if they did that. And so I don't really see that as an exploit, because they can actually go in and say, nope, not this one, not this one, not that. They can flag the ones that would cause a problem.
Right.
And then it just becomes a pure, do they want to be able to move money from realm to realm? Because you can already do that with the pets. It'd be the same thing in that regard.
Right, and then that's what you could do for cross-realm trading in a raid. You could do it with enchants, and just have it so that's the only things that you can do.
Those things are valuable in the auction house, and there's a difference from realm to realm on what they sell for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So a big difference in some cases. So just because one or two of the item, then you get into, okay, you can't trade 7,000 of the item because we're going to know that something's up,
Yeah.
You get into all of that, and it becomes a slippery slope of where do you draw the line. But how would it work for being able to join guilds cross realm, and then maybe put something in place to where if you've been in this guild that is a cross realm guild that's based in this particular realm, that after you have been in that guild for a certain period of time, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, that you have the option to realm transfer without the headache of going through and paying for it and doing all of that. I think that raiding guilds should probably benefit from that. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter because now you can just raid cross realm, and
it really doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is the fact that because you're cross realm, you can't give somebody a potion if they forgot one, or give them an enchant if they got a new item. They have to get it later. They can't do it right then and there, which from a raiding standpoint does take up time. And, time is one of the, things that we've talked about on our podcast as far as raiding etiquette is, just because you get a new piece doesn't mean you need to go run and get it enchanted and gemmed and all that. Just wait till the raid's over, Well,
what about this? If it's a potion or if it's an enchant, what if they made it so you could put the item in the trade window, but it's not tradable? It's visible in the trade window, but you can't complete the trade, but you can enchant it in the trade window. Or
kind of like they do for lock boxes with rogues.
Right. Or you can cast or you could cast a potion on another member of your raid so that it's actually used. So the item doesn't become sellable on the other realm because it's been used.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that would maybe be an option, but then you're probably dealing with some coding issues. There's probably a reason why you can't do it.
No, it's just like Max said. It'd be just like opening a lockbox.
Right.
I don't see where it'd be too big of a deal. So there you go, developers. You're listening. Make that change for us.
Oh man. Well, listen. As you know, last week we celebrated our 1-year anniversary on the Goblin Goldcast, and you guys are kind of Lions Pride Tavern's kind of like our sister podcast. You guys started not long after we did, and I know you're approaching your 1 year as well. Do you have any plans for your landmark 1 year episode?
Oh, we do. We have this huge event. We're going to follow a well-planned and thought-out strategy from the GGC.
I sense sarcasm in your voice. My sarcasm meter is just going off the charts.
It's pegged.
So you're going to go with the tried and true by the seat of your pants method.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly what the Goblin Goldcast did.
Yeah, we got nothing.
What are we going to do? I don't know.
All of the work on our 50th episode was on the back end. It's like it all got recorded. It's like, all right, Dex, have fun editing the hell out of this. It's like, and the whole time I was editing it, I was saying, I'm never doing this again, man. I'm never doing this again.
He went out. He found clips from YouTube.
Oh, I grab things from all over the place, and then it's like every time I grab a new clip, it's like, why am I making more work for myself? I had enough clips. Why am I putting more in there? It's like, oh, there's this one over here.
Right.
But anyway, and it's like, wait a minute, this one makes Mac look like a jackass. I got to do this one, So.
I think that's a strategy most days.
Yeah, that's my sense.
So you don't have a plan in place yet? You're still kicking ideas around, I take it?
Yeah, we're still kicking ideas around. And it was funny because Tapachino, our healer, she goes, "Oh, we should do like a total screw up episode where it's all of our back." And I'm like, "Well, but I don't keep all the raw data."
Oh yeah, she was talking about doing just a total blooper reel.
Yeah, a total blooper reel for the whole episode. And I'm like, "Yep, that's not going to work."
I was on when she suggested that, and I said, "Oh, you don't want to do that. That's going to be an editing nightmare."
No, yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I don't keep any of the unedited stuff.
we were trying to do something like that, and it's like 8-9 episodes into listening to the old podcast, I'm going, oh my god.
Well, it's like we've got 49 episodes before that, and if you go with 45 minutes per episode, there's math involved, so I'm not going to tell you how much time that is. But if you add all that up, I don't think he had enough time to listen to all of them before we were going to record. So,
Well, you gave me like 2 hours.
Yeah. Listen on high speed, right? But yeah, I remember her making that suggestion. And I'll tell you what it would be like. It would be like, all right, guys, we got a great episode for you. It's the all blooper episode. Please enjoy our special 10-minute episode. And that would be it, because you get 10 minutes into editing an all blooper reel, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm done. Yep. Game of Thrones is coming on. I got to go. It's like that.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Game of Thrones, you can listen while you're on the throne.
Wow. Should I leave that in?
I'm not
Should I
sure.
leave that in just so people realize that you did start drinking early again tonight?
Oh, no.
All right.
Early.
So many people fail to realize how much gold raiders go through in order to do their thing. Can you give our listeners some examples of gold sinks you contend with regularly?
Well, I know there's a lot of guilds out there that do have a lot of sinks. We actually work pretty well together. Now, as a family, we all, like I told you, I had 11 tunes, all different types. We had all the professions covered. Right. We made all of our stuff. I mean, we were prepared. So when we started bringing people into the guild, they were like, well, I could do the leatherworking or I could do the enchanting. It was like, yeah, well, we got that covered already. So we just need you to go out and get mats. Right. So we started using everybody to farm our stuff, and then we use it internally. So we don't spend a lot of gold. The only thing that does is we allow the guild to pay for repairs.
Okay.
For the armor. So that's about our biggest sink. Yeah. Now, we haven't been making anything yet because you have to have so many players in your guild during a raid in order to get that. I think it's like a 800 or 900 gold bonus every week, and we're always like 3 short.
Oh, no way.
Of a fail of it, yeah, because we cross realm with other people.
Oh,
so
no, those don't count.
So I do need to move a tune over that.
Yes. No, the more people that do, then I'm not worried about it, because I've been doing a lot of gold making since we started, and I kind of monitor it and keep track of it. I'll throw 10 grand into the guild bank for repairs if I have to. Yeah. It's not a big deal. So
well, before I forget to tell everybody that's listening, I do have a new gold making strategy I want to share. And I'm one of those, I'm getting to that age. I'm almost as old as Mac. I'm getting to that age to where if I don't say what I'm thinking when I'm thinking it, it's gone forever. I mean, remember when that started happening to you about 30, 40 years ago, Mac? But so anyway, this new gold making technique that just occurred to me just as Fafford was talking was make a raiding guild, invite new members to the raiding guild, and tell them that they need to farm mats for you. And then after they farm all these mats for you, you make your items and you sell them on. Oh, never mind. It's like it sounded ethical in my head till I started saying it out loud.
This is why Dex doesn't run a guild.
Yeah. Technically, there's some truth to that, though, because as we progress as raiders and we get into another expansion, all that stuff we had in the guild bank, it's got to go somewhere. And we just don't sell it to a vendor. Right. So we throw it on the auction house.
Well, I've made mention of that to several people in a guild that we're in, that they play socially, they don't raid, and there's a lot of stuff sitting in the guild bank that I think they could make a bunch of gold in the auction.
Oh, well, you know what? Yeah. You can appreciate this, I'm sure, Fafford. I have bought many guilds. Where guilds fall apart and they've got a guild bank, right? And they'll sell a guild, and there'll usually be a going rate for a guild. And I remember there's one guild that had a 7-tab bank that I bought for $15K back in the day. And the first tab that I opened, it had like about 4 or 5 items that just those 4 or 5 items alone, I would have tripled my money like easy. It's like, because I had to, this is before I shelled out the money. I had to inspect the guild bank. They had to make me a member and let me inspect the guild bank to make sure that it had 7 tabs before I paid for it, right? So I open up the tabs, and business as usual, I always check to see if there's anything in the tabs. Usually they're empty or they've got garbage in there, right? And I was like, there's some really good stuff in here. And I asked him, I said, so how long is this transfer going to take? And he's like, put the money in the trade window and I'll just do it right now. And I was like, wow, he's really going to leave all that stuff in. So it's like, yeah. And I don't think the guy even looked. I mean, I looked in the guild bank. I don't think he looked in it at all. I mean,
I was going to say something. I won't. But
and I felt really bad about it for.
That was like Max, or that was like Dex's poop. Yeah, never mind.
Oh man. So why don't you tell us what is your current favorite method of making gold, and why do you? I mean, besides ripping off your guild members when they go farm things for you, which we've already established. What's your favorite method of making gold currently?
I never really had a favorite method. I would make stuff and then sell it, or I'd go out and farm it and sell it. I ran into your podcast, and you guys it was like a light bulb going off in my head when you're like, yeah, we sell old content all the time. And I went, bing! Oh my gosh. So, and then you talked about Trade Skill Master, and I was like, what the heck is that? I've been using Auctionator for years. Right. Years, and you still have to do all that. What did I buy this for? Did I buy it for 4 gold or 40 gold? I don't remember. So, and Trade Skill Master, and I went, I got to go check this out. They're using it. It's got to be pretty good. Holy moly! In the last 30 days, I make 10,000 gold a day, easily with Trade Skill Master, and it's effortless. I have 2 tunes. Everybody sends all their crap to him and her, and they go up there. One guy is solely doing nothing but transmogs and pets.
Right.
And I went, I want to see how this works. I'm going to give him 1,000 gold as seed money, and I want to see where he's at. He is currently at 220,000.
Yep. Cool.
And I'm like, this is like a secret, this Trade Skill Master.
No.
Nope.
Oh man, it's, you know what? It's funny because there are so many people that you mentioned Auctionator. There are a lot of people that will not even look at Trade Skill Master because they'll say, "Oh, I do Auctionator. I'm covered," and they don't realize it's not the same thing. Really, not the same thing. I think
there's a different learning curve.
Well, there is, and the great thing is you can learn it as you go. I mean, you can learn the things that are important to you as you need them. You don't have to be a master of this thing from day one. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't even come close to a third of the functionality of this thing. I mean, for what I do, and I use it a lot. I mean, I use it for freaking everything, right? But I am still just barely scratching the surface on what this thing can do. I mean, there are guys that have blogs and things out there to where they've got all these spreadsheets for do this, do that. And I mean, they're like way beyond what I do. And I can only imagine spending the time to get that deep into it, just how much gold you can make with it. It'd just be insane. So yeah, I definitely see the value in it, and I think it's one of those things to where people see the learning curve on it and they get scared. And there's no need to, because
he knows this guy named Mac.
Well, there's no need to be afraid. And you do use it. I mean, we make jokes, but Mac does use it. He just doesn't use it. He just doesn't use all very many aspects of it. But that's fine. In the beginning, use what you're comfortable with, and every now and then add a new thing that you do. Okay, today I'll learn about this, or I'll learn about that, and gradually get.
I've got my training wheels. Yeah.
Right.
I literally, after you guys had mentioned it, I literally went and downloaded the ad, installed it, downloaded every part of it, from the destroy to the bank, the accounting.
Right.
I downloaded all of them. And I went, all right, now what do I do? Let's go to YouTube and do a search for Trade Skill Master tutorial. And I came up with Hazelnutty Games.
Right.
And she did that beginner's guide. And I literally played the video, tabbed over to the game, made the changes, went back to the video, watched it a little more, made the changes, tabbed over, and I copied her just straight up and was making gold, 20 minutes into it.
Oh, absolutely easy to do that, and you actually hit upon a great teacher. Yes. That's you're awesome. Right on target with that. But
so Fafford, what was your biggest gold making win?
Besides the Draenor garrison. I mean,
how in the world did you make money with Draenor? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it. Right up until that last change, though.
I still made gold.
I mean, I literally that was my aha moment for gold making.
Right.
Joe Bowie, who's one of our raid leaders, he actually goes, "Oh yeah, I use my garrison to buy WoW tokens to pay for my WoW. I haven't paid for WoW since Draenor came out." And I was like, "You're paying for WoW with gold you made? What?" Because literally, we had in our budget for our house budget, we had $90 set aside every month to pay for 4 WoW accounts.
Oh my God!
I told my wife that, and she's like, "Let's make gold."
You know what? I'm picturing my daughter when she was like 3 years old, and she's like, "What do you mean there's not a man that lives inside the television?" You know, like, eyes full of wonder. What is this pay for your game with gold that you speak of? You know. Oh man!
Well, I literally thought it was going to be the end of Blizzard, because I was like, if everybody finds out this secret,
everyone's going to do this. Yeah. No, it couldn't possibly be that people would be too lazy to do this.
Right. Especially when they came out with the tokens, they said, "Hey, we're going to charge $20 for a token that you can spend in game for $15." I'm like, what? Nobody's going to do that. Everybody's doing it. It's like, oh my God.
All right. Well, listen, we're at the part of the interview where I don't want to put any pressure on you, but this is the part of the interview to where everybody wants to hear the answer to this question, because it's always the most entertaining part of the interview. So why don't you tell us about your biggest oops moment? Not that we all want to laugh at you, we want to laugh with you. But why don't you tell us...
Besides inviting Mac to your rates, no.
Why don't you tell us about whether it's an investment that you made, or a strategy that didn't quite pan out, or even if it has nothing to do with gold and it was, something in rating, let's say your biggest oops moment.
No, I had a big oops moment in Cataclysm, because I was using Auctionator and I was making stuff, and I cannot remember. It was like a demon stone or something like that. You could only get it by doing dungeons and raids. Okay. And you had to get that one component to complete this thing. But every time I sold one, it was like 8,000 gold, 10,000 gold. It was incredible. And then the new content was coming out, and they changed something, and I missed that in the description. And all of a sudden I started seeing all these demon stones go. I don't remember what the name of it was, so I apologize for that. But I started seeing them going, instead of the 1,200 gold they're going for like 400 gold. And so I'm
like, these guys are idiots.
I know, and I'm buying them up left and right. Oh shit!
This is easy.
I literally just put my hands in my face and went, "Oh my God, why did I do that?" How
much did you lose, you think?
I'm gonna guess all of it. I literally spent. I think I was down to 1,000 gold. I bought them all up. Oh my God, it was so terrible.
I had a first marriage like that.
Yeah, mine too.
That's embarrassing when you go on your raid and you have to say, "Yeah, had a bad day at the auction. Could somebody spot me for repairs?"
Well, you know that guy outside the auction house in Stormwind? Oh, wait, you guys are Horde. But he always says, I will pay you for a burger on Tuesday that you give me on Monday.
Right, that was you.
That was me.
Oh, man.
I was there, man, in real life. Years ago. So you have to have at least one funny WoW story to share with our listeners. Is there a time you were making gold, or even during regular play, when things just took a comical turn?
How long is this podcast?
Longer than normal already.
I think we've gone over. I've got a note here saying check length, BS if needed.
Yeah,
I don't think that's possible.
Text.
Yeah. So, my wife and I joined a raid one night, and it was an LFR. And this guy whispers us after the raid, and he's like, "You guys are awesome players. Why are you doing an LFRs?" Well, we always did LFRs to get the mats and all this other stuff that would drop and be able to disenchant things to get the mats, so on and so forth. So he goes, "You guys should come join our guild." Of course, this was before cross-realm raiding, so we went and made tunes on his realm, and it was right at Christmas. So I made a dwarf paladin named Santa Baby.
Okay.
So we're out. I hate raiding in the dwarf area where you start, so I always go to Stormwind and I start out there. So we were in Westfall, and we're trying to do the quest where you go out on the farm and you got these little mechanical robots. You got to go knock them out and grab some stuff, and then you come back and turn it in. Well, it's a favorite horde spot for them to come over and gank all the quest givers, so you can't turn your quests in because they're like level 13s. Well, so we're in this brand new guild called Organization 13, and they're all saying, "Oh, well, we'll get you some bags. Whatever you need, we'll help you with. We're really excited you guys came in." And I whispered back and I went, "All right, so I've been here at Westfall for the last 10 minutes, and this stupid horde rogue keeps ganking all the quest givers, and we can't turn our quests in." And they went, "Where are you at?" I told him, I said, "We're on this farm." And it was funny as shit because the rogue comes up and you can just barely see him being invisible. And all of a sudden, like 8 level 80s came pouncing out of the air and dropped, totally surrounded him. And they were all of them said Organization 13 on it. And then here we are, these 2 little, level 14 guys. And we're like, yeah, that's the guy. And they just pounced him. Never saw him again.
Oh man, it's like you're out at the it's like you're out in the playground as a kid, and the bully's picking on you, and you call in an Air Force strike attack.
Exactly.
It's like, I think it was a little bit overkill, right?
Oh, it was funny. My wife and I laughed about that for an hour afterwards. It was just that was the greatest thing.
Wait till my big brother gets here and is
exactly.
I've got Chuck Norris and his buddies coming.
So why don't you tell us? You're starting to make some gold and put it away. I know you're not spending all of it on raiding. So how are you rewarding yourself with this newfound gold? Are you buying anything special?
Well, I'm married, so all my gold is direct deposited into a Draenei Elemental account called Mommy Fortuna.
I understand that.
See? Let me just say it again for the record. My wife doesn't play. My wife thinks World of Warcraft is the stupidest thing that she's never tried. And she never will.
Oh, it was funny. We were on vacation in Vegas, and I actually got her to listen to some of the podcasts, and she was laughing, and Dex is like, Don't shut it off. Stop it. Stop it.
Ixnay on the encouragement, Yeah. And then she asked me later, she goes, "You don't talk about me on the podcast, do you?" I said, "No, I don't think I've ever brought you up even once." See. And Mac's like, "Yeah, it's not that I recall either." Like,
bro code, man.
Yeah.
Of course, his wife's like, "Well, wait a minute. It's like the first episode. I remember you were talking about how pissed off you were about
honey.
It's like, anyway.
Yeah. So our podcast comes out on Monday. So my wife typically downloads it on Monday, and we listen to it on the way back home. I've already listened to it, as Dex, as you well know, you've already listened to it 4 or 5 times, but she's got to hear it. And then she's always like, I'm really glad that I can be your punching bag during these podcasts. I'm always blaming something on her. So I don't have that luxury. Mine listens.
My wife's wonderful, and I try not to.
Good cover. Good cover.
Yeah. I try not to give her too hard a time during the podcast.
So glad I don't have to suck up on the podcast. It's like I'm enjoying this. It's like if my wife ever said, I gotta say that that Worgen Hunter looks to be pretty fun. I should probably put. No, you don't really want. You know what? WoW has really run its course. I really don't see the game going anywhere. I mean, I hear this EverQuest game is a good. You should check that out. So go to the PvP realm.
Yeah, there you go. Oh yes, PvP's all the rage, honey.
Oh man, I could just see she goes on to PvP realm. That's a stupid game. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I don't know why we play it, honey. Yeah. So, Fafford, is there a piece of advice you'd like to pass on to our listeners? Something we haven't covered so far?
Yes. So, no matter what you...
I'm afraid.
I'd be very afraid.
Go ahead, man.
So, no matter what you do in WoW, whether you're a raider, a quester, a dungeoneer, a PvPer, just have fun. Be nice. A lot of our fans will tell us that it's getting so hard to find a good group of players, that everybody's so elitist and out of control and angry all the time over stupid stuff. It doesn't have to be that way. There are the groups of us out there that just this is our social event. We look forward to it every Friday. Looking forward to, I've only met out of our 30 people physically went and met. I've only met 2, 4, 6, 8, probably about 10 of them.
Right.
Out of 30. And all the rest of them, but I've known them for years. I know their kids' names. I know, a couple of them even live close to me and I still haven't visited them yet. Right. But I know their kids' names. I know, what license plate, they have on their motorcycle, what it says,
Right.
But that's what it's all about. This is one of those games, I swear to you, it brings people together from all over the world. It really does.
Right. Yeah. And I think you said it really well. Make sure you're having fun. And that's, our podcast is about making gold mostly. And okay. Officially, that's what it's about. And, but you know what? I've seen this over the years so many times where you'll get somebody that they'll be really good at making gold. And so good at it that they don't do anything but make gold in whatever game it is they're playing, and they don't actually have fun and play the game, and you get burned out. So if you're not having fun, whether you're raiding or you're just trying to make gold or do trade skills or run dungeons or whatever you're doing, that's right. Why are you doing it if you're not having fun? That's the real question there.
Yeah, it's a game.
It becomes a job. Yeah.
It's a game. Yeah. It's a game. It's not real life. You can make some real gold if you want. You could go buy stuff, but it's just a game. Have fun.
Well, even the best gold makers aren't going to make, even if they made the gold and they turned around and sold it for real money, what are you going to make, $15 an hour if you're lucky?
Yeah.
If you're really, really good, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not really an incentive to do it as a job. But anyway, but besides the Goblin Goldcast, there are a lot of people out there that are devoted to bringing people to gold making and having their content about that. Who would you like to single out as someone that's worth a shout out? You can name more than one if you'd like, but maybe somebody you'd classify as a must interview person for our podcast.
Seriously, all my success and all my failure is dependent on just two people.
Okay.
Goblin Goldcast.
So what you were supposed to say? Oh. My success and my failure are dependent on Dex and Mac, because then people will associate success
and
Dex
failure.
and failure with Mac. And I wouldn't have even had to edit it to make it sound better. It would have been natural, and it would have flowed through like that.
I know you said besides the Goblin Goldcast, but seriously, you guys are the first ones that I've listened to, and
That's why he thinks we're so great, because he hasn't actually had anything to compare us to.
Well, I've listened to a couple of your interview people that you've interviewed before, and I've gone and checked out their sites. But I really enjoy your guys' camaraderie on your podcast. It's fantastic. And, you're the one that gave me that light bulb going off going, sell old stuff. Yeah.
Old stuff, yeah.
Sell old stuff, yeah.
It's, you know what?
Like my co-host, yeah.
It's not sexy to say, oh, hey, go do what people aren't doing anymore. That's from 5 years ago. It's not sexy at all, but it'll make you gold, So.
Yeah. Well, I have had zero luck selling current content stuff. I don't play enough to go out there and get that enchantment, that high-level enchantment, and sell it for 8,000 gold every time. I always come in at the end when it's like 50. Everybody's got it and nobody needs it anymore.
When you're chasing the curve, it's rough. It really is. Well, listen, man, we want to really thank you for a great interview. Awesome job coming on here and helping me keep Mac in line.
I know it's so hard. Didn't even have to have Mrs. Mac here to keep me in line. I don't know.
Right.
No smacks up the back of the head, huh?
Right.
Yeah, well, that happens on Fridays and Saturdays when I'm trying to raid with you guys. Don't do anything that's going to embarrass me. No. So if people want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
The best way is our Facebook page. We just kind of created that here a couple months ago. So it's facebook.com/Lions Pride Tavern. There's links there that you can go to send an email. You can email us directly at lionspridetavern@yahoo.com. Our YouTube, if you want to look at our videos there or leave a comment on one of our videos, I also manage all that. So you can just do a search for Lion Pride Tavern Podcast on YouTube, because it's under a different name. It's under my gaming name. And then all of our podcasts are listed on Podomatic.com under Lions Pride Tavern, Podomatic.com.
You can watch the YouTube and go, look, that Matt guy, he sleeps a lot.
Well, that's Swiffer for you.
All right, man. Well, listen, you have an awesome rest of your weekend, man.
Will do. We're looking forward to getting you on in our raid there, Dex. So keep at it.
It will happen. Just you got to bear with me. I will get there.
I know. Take some anti-nausea medicine. That'll help you. That'll help you play that Alliance tune.
I only have so much in my prescription, and I need most of it on Saturday or Sunday nights when I'm recording the podcast with Mac. It's just been trying to ration it a little bit.
Oh, crap. Okay.
What?
Sorry, my Windows decided to... Okay.
Don't do that when we're at the end of the podcast, and it's like I'm thinking we lost the whole audio. Oh, crap.
Oh, I forgot to check. Are we actually recording?
Well, that's what it looked like there for a second. My Windows 10 popped up on my screen. It was like, what the F?
I'm expecting him to say, good practice. Now let's do it for real.
Oh, it looked like that for a second.
Well, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's episode. I'd like to thank Schaefer Bates for his awesome work as the Goblin voice at the beginning of each show. Also, Kevin McLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme music, Hot Rock, licensed under Creative Commons.
And if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can contact us at Mac, that's MAC, at GoblinGoldcast.com, or Dex, that's DEX, at GoblinGoldcast.com. If you can't reach us on our main email, we have an alternate email, MacGoblinGoldcast@gmail.com. You can contact us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast, or you can visit us on Facebook.
And don't forget to visit the swag store at cafepress.com/Goblin Goldcast. And you can leave us a voicemail on our website, GoblinGoldcast.com. And please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
So I have this idea for a great movie. It's about two gnomes who find a bracelet of power and they have to take it to the burning steps and cast it into the cauldron. They form the Brotherhood of the Bracelet. Along the way, they're trailed by a murloc named Gotham, who's obsessed with the bracelet, and 9 bracelet boogeymen. It could be a 3-parter called Ruler of the Bracelet. The first part would be called The Brotherhood of the Bracelet, followed by A Couple of Towers, with a climactic ending called Hey, the King's Back.